All right. Friday morning here. Now live. Streaming daily, 8:30 till 11 a.m. We're into just about all-time highs on the NASDAQ. 18,121.50. That's this level right there. I'm going to go to a 30-minute. This is a mess. I'm actually going to switch to micros for Friday for this account. I drew down a bit on calendar spreads. Good. Yeah. Good job. Okay, here we go. Micros. I'm going to just do some quick line work here. That's the all-time high there. This is delta on 30-minute. Interesting. I don't really looked at it. Okay, so as far as the zone is concerned, I like this one here. Obviously, we need to know about this. It's the breakout from yesterday. Yesterday's opening range right there, and then we pretty much never looked back from it. Straight up from yesterday. Straight up. And if we come back in, like this zone here, I actually like the entire thing. That's fine. We're going to do these as rays, right ray, right ray, oop, right ray. Cool. Switch this to MNQ so we are in the right account. I did some overnight stuff on the Top Step X account. I'm looking to see if I do end up funding that account, which I should. Well, one of them. I have a couple in the works. I may use one as purely just an overnight idea. Set it before I go to bed, wake up and see where it's at. I did that last night and I ended up pulling out 547 on a short trade idea that I took. It's not going to show on here, I don't think, very well, but I can show you what I was looking at least. This is the Top Step X. That's the PNL right there, 547 from the overnight trade that I took. I was watching this little setup here around midnight. I got home from work, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock-ish. So I was on the chart watching. I saw some breakdowns, and then I saw a break above this little area here, which I do find important for later, so that's an important spot. But I saw this break up. We failed to kind of make new highs. We had this triple top looking thing here, and on the minute, or on the overnight session, this thing literally just goes tick for tick for tick for tick, and then you see this whippy candle, and then you see the sell off, another sell, and then once you break through this trend line, you start to have. So I took a sell. Actually took it when we returned back to here. So I took a sell here on the other account, so you can see that one I'm up 307 on. That one I actively managed and then just got out of. This is the one I set and forget, so I waited till it came back up. You got a high there, failed high again, and then once you had this little wick off, I went short, and I said if it doesn't reach 71, which is the high, I will be out. And then I was looking to target these lows right here. I targeted this wick at the bottom just because I felt that there was some liquidity there that needed to be grabbed, and then if it was going to sell off overnight, we would get touched. So I set that order here, set the stop up there. It was basically a 1-to-1, win 500, lose 500, and then I'm going to try and test that in this combine to see how many times it works on an overnight basis. So we ended up getting ticked off there, took the full 547, rotated down, and then now we're pushing all the way back up. I'm going to assume that we push all the way through all-time highs at this point since we've gotten so close. Then we're gonna just wait and see. Yesterday, the S&Ps did go to all-time highs. Yes. Whereas yesterday, S&Ps just rallied right off the jump. This was the S&Ps on the 30-minute. Right, we opened, we wicked down. This is our opening range, and then we just continued to rally up all day, up until really didn't stop the rally until about 1 o'clock, and then you started to sell off around 1:30, kind of try to push up again. But these are all brand new all-time highs, and once again, we're here making new all-time highs again. So that's where we're at on the S&Ps, the NASDAQ on a 30, that 121.50 level right there. That's going to be your all-time high level over there. And we're like approaching right to it, right? And that's where we're at on the live stream on the main screen here. Like I said, I'm going to be trading my my express funded. I'm drawn down a bit, so I'm going to use, especially for a Friday, we're not really worried too much about the dollar amount on the P&L. It's more about the executions, getting ourselves back into a good position, and kind of letting things play out. We're going to trade micros and see what we can end up with. If I decide to take any trades on Top Step X, I'll let you know. But right now, it doesn't look like I want to do that at the moment. I'm going to turn on my Trader TV Live so I can hear the news. Yesterday, well, it's been helpful a lot, actually, to be honest. Over the last few years, I've been watching them on and off. They do a good job of giving out breaking news, letting you know about stocks and stuff. I'm not watching stocks very much. I mean, I do have my equities that I pull up here and there as I see them working out and being connected. Obviously, NVIDIA looked like it was giving up yesterday, and then it decided hold my beer, rallied up into the close, and then now pre-market still just rallying right above that 800 level. So clear skies ahead for NVIDIA to be just an absolute monster. And then I saw this. I don't usually use like indicators that have any sort of algorithms of entries and exits. I saw this one yesterday on Austin Silver, I believe, is his little indicator that he developed with Lux Algo, and it just kind of gives you some stop locations and some entries on. I'm gonna go out a 5 minute, but you can see that it's pretty accurate. It's I just wanted to look at it and see what it's got going on. It has to do with anchored VWAP and a few things, but right now I'm not really too concerned about that. I won't take any signals off of it yet. I'm gonna throw this up here as well. Okay, you get those tweezer tops here in the 5. NVIDIA, Microsoft probably also rallied overnight. Yep, and AMD, and you got Apple, Microsoft. Let's see what these guys do today. I would just like to see what NVIDIA does, just because it's so extended, and yesterday it sort of took a breath and then it decided to rip up. So okay, we're open and NVIDIA is selling off immediately. We didn't quite make the high. All right. I'm watching this all-time high. Meta popping. Amazon rolling over touch, but Apple rolled some. Microsoft below 414.92. And there's that all-time high level touched on the NQs. So could look to see if we can get a long break of the all-time high. I've been seeing that work out pretty good. But we have no idea where it's going to end up, right? So hey Max, good morning, bud. Say hi. What's up, buddy? Thank you. All right. So, brand new all-time highs right here. Everything above that 2150 and now beyond is all-time high levels. This is a 30-minute chart. Go to the 5 on that. And back to the 1 where I belong. Back where I belong. Here's your opening range, pretty tight, about 70 ticks. That's been about the average I've noticed over the last, it's actually 80 ticks. That's what I've noticed over the past, I don't know, couple weeks. On the opening range being around that 80 tick mark. 70 ticks, 80 ticks. Never really tighter than that, never really, I mean, there's been days where it's been, 100 plus, but those are outlier days. Like yesterday, I believe, was over 100 and something because it was such a volatile open after that NVIDIA earnings. It is Friday. I hope you guys have a great day today. We are going to move this down a bit so you guys can see the whole screen. Yeah, I'd rather you be able to see that right there. Okay. This weekend, like I said, I'm going to look to see if I can adjust my screen a bit, make it so it's a little bit more friendly for you guys. Not that you can't see everything here, but I want to be able to show maybe even like a running P&L thing, because you can see my P&Ls down here, but it's blocked by me. Maybe the tilt, get a little overlay of the tilt. A lot of little things here that will help out. Make adjustments, figure out how to get it all going a little bit better for you. Or even to get like another spot where I can put in, like I said, I can put the NVIDIA and Microsoft. You can see them if you're in Top Step X. If you wanted to go into the chart, not Top Step. If you're in TradeCaster, I have included in my stream lobby, just below my stream, is a chart. So if you really wanted to scroll down quick and take a look at, let's say, Apple or Amazon or NVIDIA, whatever, you can type it into that chart below. It'll give you some charts there. NVIDIA is just absolutely on a moon mission right now, just screaming to the upside. Microsoft giving back some. I'm not even watching NVIDIA, to be honest. Apple pulling down. What was yesterday's important level on Apple as far as the high is concerned? I'd say that's important there. Yesterday's high was also important. This 184.22 is the breakout point from yesterday, where it just continued to rip up after we made that broke the high of the opening prints on Apple. What's up, Spy Proby? NVIDIA's out of its mind. It's just never ending upside. And we got that. I got myself into a little bit of trouble yesterday because Nvidia was disconnected from the NQ a bit, and it was kind of just holding in the lows, and I just kept trying to short it because Nvidia was so weak, and I got myself stuck in short mindset when I could have just hit long once and been in the money a ton. So I really don't like trading all-time high levels. It's just not my game. It's very difficult. I think it's difficult for a lot of people. It's kind of counterintuitive. A lot of people will buy that all-time high and look for breakouts because there is nothing above to hold it back. Especially it seems like what's the case for Nvidia here. It was great earnings. They beat pretty easily. Yeah. It really was. I mean, look at this thing, man. Yesterday, this is the reason why, right? We had that huge rally up. We had earnings. We sold off. Then we broke right above it. And then we just sat here. And then once it ticked down, just took that rally point. But this 680 that you're talking about down there is unreal. Yeah, I mean, for that kind of, like you said, for that number, it's acting like how Tesla was acting back in the day. If you go over to that little write-up that I wrote, I compared the two. Once this bubble, I wouldn't consider it a bubble. Nvidia is a great company, and they do have great forward guidance. And a lot of what they do is they also invest in other AI names and stuff. So they have, I think I said $5 billion in investments across other AI names. Let's see what I have it here somewhere. They have 20 billion, I believe, in earnings in just AI related products and stuff like that. So they're piling into Nvidia stock, and Nvidia is investing in 5 other AI stocks. So not only do they create the chip space, they work in that AI sector, they got all the graphics cards and all that whatnot. They are investing in other AI stocks with their profits as well. So that's really, I mean, not only is it a tech company and an AI giant, it's the leader in the space, but it's also putting its money where its mouth is and putting more money into other companies that if they do grow as well, then, they're going to give you that kind of pop. So it's like almost like an investment vehicle for the entire space. Nvidia, it's just nuts, and we're sitting over these all-time highs right now in the Nasdaq, but we're just kind of basing here. Could look to, just be patient with it. I don't know if anybody has a all-time high strategy in their playbook, because we just continue to hit it day in and day out. It feels like S&P's is pushing up pretty heavy. We're at 51.20 even, 5120. These kind of patterns for me too like to break down when it gives you this little bit of a wedge to the upside. You get a big push, you wedge a little bit, you look for this little breakout here. This guy broke above but never really got any gusto to it, and then a breakdown from here usually will lead to a decent fast rollover. I'm going to call it out. It's going to happen. I'm not going to take it, and it's going to be fun. But at these all-time high levels, I don't have the conviction yet to sell, because it's just on a rocket mission right now. Nvidia holding up, Apple rolled, still holding 84. It's a strange time. I've always heard the old statement is the markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. And I'll stick by that forever. As far as it's almost just a game, right? Because it's very disconnected from reality, in the sense of people are struggling. I know it says retail sales are up or everything like that, but if you say retail sales are up, but also credit card defaults at all-time highs, credit card debts at all-time highs, it's not people spending their money that they have, it's spending money that they don't have on high interest rate credit cards in a high interest rate environment where the Fed is using these inflationary data measures to say, okay, yes, inflation's slightly ticking down, or we're still up in inflation, the economy's still strong, we're creating jobs, but like I said, MasterCard and Visa, some of these companies are reporting major debt increases, defaults on debts, and then, with mortgage rates as high as they are, any sort of little bump in the road, you're going to see a ton of foreclosures. You're going to see, people that are in a little bit too much house. I was a mortgage broker for a short period of time, so I did understand the rate environment, and I did see some of the files that I was getting, and people were getting approved for stuff that, or trying to force themselves into homes that they didn't necessarily need or could afford. So there is that little bit of a bubble where people are going to just, that we're in a dangerous spot, right? For the market to be at crazy all-time highs. If any portion of that does break, then you do see some longer, medium-term selling that'll come in from these all-time highs. Capitulation is a thing, right? I mentioned capitulation in the NVIDIA. So I'm going to do a quick, because I'm not trading this right this second. Let's do a quick breakdown on, let's do NVDA, and we're going to do it on a daily. Daily will be fine. All right, so the daily shows, this is where NVIDIA was May. We had a pretty good earnings report here, right? An 18% beat, surprise, and a 10% beat on revenues, and then they guided forward pretty well. Once this popped off here, it really just based here between 504 and 400, right? It's just a big basing pattern. Once you got to January of this year and the chip sectors got super hot, you got this unreal rally, right? You got this capitulatory move here, right? Because this is the normal price action, just coming in here, and then now you're getting this big drive to the upside, driven by the AI hype, driven by all that, right? You got this big move up. I talked about possibly giving a bit of sell off. We did get a little sell off into that earnings, and obviously after earnings, this is the gap up, and then the gap up today. So this chart has got a little sloppy, right? There's a lot of gaps, and a name like this, you don't normally get that kind of gapping without filling up some of them, right? Like there's a ton of gaps here in a pretty highly priced name, right? Anything up in that $500, $600, $800 range is a very pricey stock. And if you compare it to Tesla, the electric car boom, right? Similar start here. If you go back to 2020, right? You get the COVID stuff, then you got the V bottom, right? So COVID drove this price down. Also, this got split, so the prices aren't accurately reflected. It's more of the chart patterns that you're going to see. You got the push up, big sell off on just that COVID, but then you start to see everything starts to rally, electric cars, and then you get that same sort of basing pattern, and then you get that huge capitulatory rally move all the way up into January of 2021, and then once again you get that big move, you flatten, huge move again, one more time, and then now since really about then, that electric car hype kind of faded out and the AI hype started to take over, right? In a very similar time, right? This is November 21. AI hype started to come in and around here. You start to see that thing sell off pretty hard just because it was so super extended. How many times can we do that capitulatory move before the hype starts to fade out and fizzle? Is it going to happen to NVIDIA today? Is it going to happen to NVIDIA this year? Maybe, maybe not. But moving forward, that's the kind of, wild ride that you see. Big capitulatory move. And then once that hype fades out and people are like, all right, I made my money in it or whatever, I think Tesla is a great company and it does have a good value to where it could break out again. And I do think it will at some point. But you're going to get this kind of profit taking on a huge name that's up into that 800. I mean, Tesla was in the thousands, right? Before he cut, stock split. So just be mindful of this type of move. Just looking at this same deal, right? You got the flatten out, capitulatory move, sell off, big push up, base out. Now this giant capitulation here, bang off to the top side. All these gaps, just be careful, pushing into these highs. Maybe, you get up to 1,000. Maybe there's that move, or maybe you base out and you get up again. Once something else comes along, or maybe this earnings comes in a little bit softer than when they guided here, because let's say they guided very aggressively this earnings. Now, let's say next earnings they don't meet that guide, even if it's a good number, you get that sell off, right? And then you can look at that NQ, the continuous contract. I'll take off all my little drawings here. Big sell off. That was our bear market there. Then we kind of came out of it. As we came up, we based out. Now we're rallying again through and up to all-time highs, right? Last time I did this, I did a little, let's see. We did a fib tool here to get to the previous one, which was there. I drew this up last time here, and I got where the all-time high is now for 161%. Let's get rid of that again, and then we're going to go to, let's see if we can pull that off here with the previous push up. I really don't have a great basing pattern to base it off of. This is a base pullback, push up. I feel like maybe we're more into the range of just this keeps pushing up, and then once we get to a certain level, it just rips to the downside. Yeah, I don't have anything that would give me a good fib. Maybe I just go from high to low on the pullback, and you got to 18,750, 18,600. And that's that. I'm going to go back to my 30 minutes so it doesn't look as messy. There you go. So 30 minutes there. We're going to go back to a dual screen, and we got Microsoft rolling down. Let's see, Apple also rolling to the downside, and Nvidia holding these highs. So let's see, maybe we can get this to roll now. This is where I was mentioning, right? You had that little bit of a push up, tried it again, you're failing that 121, which was that previous high. If you fail this opening range high, I might look to short that through there, and then I'm going to risk to the high here. Like I said, I'm trading micros on this, so if it happens, it happens. If not, there we go. We're triggered into that. See where it goes. We did reject that all-time high. We kind of faded off of it. Didn't make new real pushes up. Nvidia is up there. Microsoft. Oops. Oops. Got Apple bouncing now because I shorted. Once this opening range, if you can break down the bottom end of the opening range, this trade here is a very good good move. I would have liked to have shorted right there and then risk to the highs, and you would have never been stopped. However, we did wait for a little bit more confirmation. Once you, so SPY, I traded prop with T3, and I have my Series 57 and all that stuff. I still have it. It hasn't expired yet, but it's not active unless you're with somebody. But when I was with that team, we talked about a lot in the morning sessions about how sectors would get rotated into and out of, and what was the hot sector and what wasn't. And really, money just flows. And if you could understand that there's only so much out there, people aren't going to be investing in everything at all times. So once one sector gets hot, the other one starts to fizzle out. And if you could start to observe which sector is going to go hot, which one's going to start to fizzle out, you can kind of front run it a little bit into certain names, even using, the ETFs of everything. So we were looking, into Soxel, which is that chipset sector, and, You know, you can see it coming out of the automotives, electric car industry and stuff like that. So you can see it coming and going. It's just a matter of being able to understand why it was flowing, which way, and all that stuff. So, you know, you do see that money flow from AI, from not from AI, from the electric vehicles to AI to green to out of that green idea and, you know, into other things that are going to make people money, right? And then if they see that environment changing, this is speeding up quite a bit. So I don't know if I want to risk that high there. We are in this opening range, so I am still good with this. Like I said, I'm not risking a ton. I'm on micros right now because I drew down some yesterday, but we're trying to execute our strategy, and we're fading these highs as we saw that we were slowing down as we approached here. We could give some of this back down into, if we can break below the opening range low, then we'll probably go to break even, and then we'll see, you know, as we approach VWAP where we'll end up. But the overnight low is all the way down here. So a lot of times after such a rally of a day yesterday, you may get a range bound type day today, unless today is going to be that secondary push capitulation to the high side, and we'll be done on that. That burn there. So we're just going to see if we can get that rotation to the downside here. Yeah, that's how the bigger players look into it. Anybody who's trading for a bank or for, you know, some sort of large firm, they're watching equity flows. They have quants, they have information, they have data scientists. They're watching how people are spending their money. And that's why they're buying data, right? You know, they'll buy data from Google, they'll buy data from everybody, Facebook, and they could see all that information, and they have whatever their little data analysis, stuff that they do, and they'll know stuff and be moving. And if you could kind of see where they're moving their money, then that's where you could start to play and dabble in your own ideas. See if NVIDIA starts to roll. Yeah, like I mentioned, things are starting to pop again. I'm not going to take that full risk. I'm going to take this off if it breaks above that level again. Just because I don't want to risk more than that on this trade. I think if we reject the opening range, then we run to highs and we probably never look back. So that's why I just want to be above where I thought that breakdown was. And I don't have much wiggle room left in this funded account. Apple selling some. This opening range high still holding for us. Looking to see if it'll accept and hold below it and get down to the opening range low and into VWAP. But it kind of looks like it wants to get stronger, even though NVIDIA is getting heavy. Microsoft still heavy. Apple tried to roll over, tried to get through that 184.22 and is sort of sitting on it. So if it does break down, then maybe we get that breakdown still. NVIDIA is still holding this higher end of this little wedge. If it breaks out above here, then you're going to probably get another rip to the high side, which it's kind of threatening right now. S&P is just ticking up and ticking up and ticking up. The overnight trade was good. I'm going to try and do that more often. Like I said, I'm going to use one account for that overnight. Like, have a grand idea, a very wide stop, and then just set the take profit orders and everything like that. So it looks like we're getting a little bit of a wick down. Need to break through this low here. There's a high volume node here at 18.1. If we can break through that, we should be able to get a decent continue down to this blue line here, which is that opening range low. If we cannot, then this is likely to rally up the rest of the day, right? Because it's going to hold that opening range high and push up. And then if I do get stopped out, I may flip long on this and then see what happens. But I think we should be fine on the shorts here for the time being, with these names still not playing to the long side. They're still holding their lows. So, you know, Apple yesterday helped drive us up. Now Apple's pushing downside. So, and if NVIDIA can't continue to keep these gains, then I would be very happy to see this thing continue to roll over downside pressure. All right, so if we get to the blue line, we'll go to break even. There we go. Now it's a free trade for me. I have no desire to take this off until I see a reason to. We have a good delta push to the downside. This is an excellent trade here. Just on the idea of that we failed the breakout. This all-time high here was this was the previous all-time high here, 18,121.50. We took a slight bit of heat on it, not much. It broke down, came back up, and now it's pushing back down. If we can leave the opening range low here, then we'll be just fine. So we have 2 micros on. We're up currently about 150 ticks. We're going to go to the opening range low, and now we've secured profit, right? So that's just how I trade. I secure profits on the way down or way up. Because VWAP was that initial target, as we rotate off of an extreme, VWAP is usually that first target for me. And if we can continue to get sell side pressure, there should be no reason that we don't continue down. Apple, if it breaks lows, then we should break lows with this. I want to rotate all the way down to value area low right now, since we broke through VWAP without any issue. Like I said, range bound type days usually occur after a huge move up or a huge move down. So I'm going to be cautious around that close, because that's where we gapped from, 18,025. And then that overnight low is 18,000 even. So those are the ultimate targets to start, unless selling really starts to pour in, and then you may have a banger on your hands, right? Because Microsoft melted off. You can see Microsoft here sold off super hard. NVIDIA sold off as well. I think if NVIDIA does break the low of its opening range here, I think it goes down to 800, and then you got to see what happens at 800. You know, I talked about what happened up here. We were patient. We kind of did a little bit of an education portion where I talked about money flows, and then that kind of kept me out from that chop initially, and then it allowed me to let markets settle in, and we took our short as we entered back into the opening range. So like I said, VWAP was that first target. I'm leaving my stop a little bit wider just to give it a little bit of room with how heavy we are right now, and I think that we can rotate all the way down. I'm going to secure that there just above this yellow line, because that yellow line is a key level as well. That gives us, you know, we're giving back $30 on that. That's fine with me. So let's see if we can continue this break to the downside. Sorry, I'm trying to make it big enough for you to see, but where I can see as much information as possible. There's no reason that this shouldn't hold this. If it doesn't and it rips back higher, then so be it, we'll be out. VWAP is usually a very reactive level, but we kind of ripped right through it. So I would expect this to be just like more of a tick up and a rotate back down, but you do see Delta starting to push back up. So this could just be a grab. Let's see. That's why I didn't put my stop right there, because it kind of felt like we'd come back into here. Anything up above 85, right? That's that top end there. That should probably lead to maybe more breakout, because there may be stops there that'll go off. It's a low volume node as well, so it's the middle of a range. Could tick up to 85 and then down. But overall, good trade. I can't be mad at anything that happens from here on out. Very, very happy with the execution on these micros. There's still power in micros, right? I could hold them a little longer. I can, you know, it's a smaller size, so I could widen my stop a little bit. But also you could capitalize on it, right? I mean, if you felt like you really wanted to take $200 in a day, you could have already gotten off your contracts and been done. But we're looking to see if we can capitalize on this full move to the downside here. I'm not going to give it any cap on the amount of gains. I'm just going to try and trail it out as best as possible, right? So we talked about money flows. We talked about why people rotate from one sector to the other, what's hot, what's not. We're rolling over now. Everything seems to be playing well in our favor. I didn't record this, so I'm going to see somehow I can make the stream into a little YouTube, a little Instagram video or something like that. So I'm going to continue to leave the stop here right above these. So we've secured now 120 bucks on the micros. 2 micros, we're currently up 204 ticks. So 200 ticks a day keeps the day job away, if I would have to say anything about that. Still in short up here from that opening range high. I think now that we're below VWAP, we're holding here. We should get some more continuation. Unless NVIDIA does catch a bounce at 800, which it looks like it's trying to a little bit. But Microsoft and Apple were still very, very heavy. And yesterday, Apple took over the lead. Apple took the lead yesterday to the upside, which really drove us, and we disconnected from NVIDIA a bit. I hope we're still disconnected from NVIDIA, but I doubt it because it's just ripping. We did get, as soon as NVIDIA sold off, everything else followed through. It looks like we want to kind of rotate through right now, possibly. VWAP is holding, and we may get stopped out. But, all right, we're out there. That was a really good trade. Can't be mad at that. We took out about 135 or so ticks. 126 ticks. So, very good there. Now we just look for another, and another, and another. And that's just how we do it. A good Friday, good start to the day. We're up 126 on micros. So I find that to be an even better trade than anything else, right? Plus 126 on the day. We're only trading the micros. We're not looking to give anything that much back. We drew down pretty good on this XFA. So I'm looking to start a winning streak back in it and dig myself out of a hole. There's no reason to lose it by trading just big size for no reason, right? So my original stop was at that 85. So we would have been stopped there anyway. I moved it down. I could have trailed it right onto VWAP, but we would have been ticked out anyway. So let's watch, see if NVIDIA does catch that bid there. Apple's still still holding lows. Microsoft, yeah, it's all about emotions, man. I've learned over the years, right, starting in FX, I got a good mentor kind of early. I'd say the guys that I learned from weren't like the flashy Lambo type Forex people, which you normally get. Although those Lambo people are great if they can actually make money, good for them, but they don't, the underlying money management of everything I learned from them. And then also just trying to keep emotions in check. They were longer term swing type teachings. So I'm trying to, I've adapted that to being very short term scalpy, but also using the same stuff. But I think I got lucky with a good foundation early, understanding that this is just a mental grind nonstop, no matter, how long you do it. I think I just saw a video on Instagram of Tim Sykes, saying that he had a huge loser because he didn't watch anything, he didn't stick to his plan, ended up being down like 26 grand on a trade, and normally he doesn't average into losers, and he was doing all that, and he just decided that he was just going to hammer into this just based purely on what he was looking at, and it bit him in the butt, but at least he's got the wherewithal to admit that he does take losers, and that's kind of how this works. And I think everybody can learn from that kind of stuff. Overall, we're just kind of going to be patient now. It's heavy. Microsoft's still heavy. Step X. Spy, I appreciate you being around. I think there's a lot of good information here. We have a good conversation every time you're in here. So every time you stop by, I really appreciate it. So make sure you keep coming around. I tend to do good when you're over here too. So I like to have that conversation. I'm able to break down my levels a bit, and then I'll actually stick to my plan a bit more when I have that conversation going on. So I appreciate it. Apple. Oh, my fingers are chunky today. There we go. Video rolling over again. You could possibly see this continue to go downside. Really, in theory, you take one off at VWAP. What's one off of that? 72. I'm always trying to like give my strategy a once over or my trailing strategy, while I'm not in it, once I've just finished through, how could I maximize the rest of this position? I would really like to get a few contracts on up here. So I had 2 micros on. If I could get 3 to 5 on, maybe take off 2 to 3, depending on how many I have on, right down here at VWAP, then leave the rest at break even, because then you could at least secure, one is 70-ish, $67 at VWAP, right? So if you secure that one, then you leave the rest of your position over this volume node, just past break even. And then as you see this continue to rotate, maybe you're holding below opening range low as you're getting breakdowns in NVIDIA and Apple. And Microsoft, all these names are still rolling. So you do have room for Microsoft to come down into that 412 zone. That was really important. I think it'll get back to there. I've been seeing that act like resistance and support for some time. That and the 402.18, 406.18. Apple has room down to 183. And NVIDIA just has room to wherever. It just does what it wants when it wants. This could be that breakdown right here. We're going to watch that. But this little wick here. Not looking to rush into a second trade right now because we're not at my extremes or what I normally do. I don't like to enter at VWAP. I use VWAP as a target. You have seen, I'm sure, a couple of my executions have been around the VWAP area, but it's only because I've approached zones that I'm interested in, and VWAP just happens to be there as an added confluence either to the upside or down. I think it's usually more than likely it was, VWAP's right above a zone and I want to short it. And I'll just use just above it as a resistance, but as a stop. But for the most part, I'm not looking to take an entry. Like right now, there's nothing right here that's going to tell me let's get short. I mean, it does look heavy, right? And it is holding below VWAP. But to me, NVIDIA is right at that low. It could easily take a bounce right here, and then the whole entire thing just gets canceled out. If it flushes now, then you will get continuation, probably down to this 46, which is that value area low. But I'm not convinced on it as far as a sell is concerned, right? It's just not in my best interest in limiting my risk where I could be wrong. Because I could be wrong. I could be right on this trade, right? I could take a short here, and it could eventually play out. But realistically, where I would be actually wrong on the trade, if I were to be taking really appropriate stops, would be above this 121.50 where that high is, because you break that previous all-time high again, then you probably get that big push to the upside. Do you want to risk that much, right? That's a good amount of money to be risking for not great reward to the downside, because I think 18,000 acts as solid support on a rotational range bound probably Friday. We're going to watch these levels as well. I'm going to use that as the level. while I'm taking this time to be patient, right? You see this breakdown, failed breakdown, could rotate higher. NVIDIA, if it breaks through its little jobby here, I'm going to add this as a favorite so I can see it. There we go. So you can see it as well. It's a very similar thing here, right? With this trend line, this wedge here. And as I'm clicking on my NVIDIA here, I have an NVIDIA GeForce pop-up coming up on my screen because I do have a GeForce NVIDIA graphics card in this computer. So, I mean, I'm a proponent of buying their products. They're the best. So I don't see why this is not a great company. I've thought about it. I've traded NVIDIA back when it was a lot lower in price when I was trading with the equities. And I found it to be a good vehicle to trade. But also their products are great. But like I said, there was no reason for me to short this here because of this possibility right there. Right? You got a very similar wedge going on here, although it doesn't seem like it directly. It is correlated. Like I said, while I'm here, I'm going to share the side hustle I got going on, the daytradingcoffeecompany.com, daytradingcoffeeco.com. I'm going to share the shop so you can go straight to the shop. Everything in there is excellent coffee. We roast to order. Delivery is really quick, right to your house. We'll offer Policing Pips discount. It is 15% off orders when you link through here. I love coffee. As you can see, I just drink coffee all day, every day. I figured there was not a coffee company directed to our community within the day trading community. So I started it and took the onus on it. So share it with your friends, family. I don't care. Everybody who drinks coffee don't have to be day traders. We're just trying to grow the brand. Everybody who's tried it loves it. You can go to Google. We have Google reviews. Everybody's got 5-star reviews on there. Head over to the website. Check out some of the clothing. If you don't drink coffee, I think I've done some pretty cool design work on some of our clothing and our mugs. So check it out. Anybody in here. Also, I'm going to use a portion of profits to go into a funding fund. So I'm going to use this platform here on TradeCaster to give away funding to underfunded traders through my coffee company. So 10% of all profits is going to go to the funding fund to start. Once we start profiting, I'm going to do combines. I'm going to do, if you're in futures, I'll give away, obviously, futures combines. I'll let you pick. I would prefer to probably give away Top Step combines because that's the one I trade with and I feel the most comfortable with. But if you want to try Apex, you want to try some other ones. If you're in the drawing for the giveaways for that funding fund, then I will let the people kind of have their choice with it. Or I'm also going to try and reach out to a few of them and partner directly with those companies. So we're really going to try and fund those underfunded traders and get people involved. If you're in the Forex space, I could go with that. And then as we grow, as we become a bigger company and profits start to grow, I'm going to start to give away cash accounts, partner with brokerages, and see if I could help some people get off the schneid and into an account where they're actually going to make some good money and be able to follow along with our streams and be able to really grow as a trader and as a community, right? So that's what I'm looking at to do with the company. Not only, like I said, selling coffee, but I would like to fund those underfunded traders with the portion of the profit. So we're not just a coffee company, we're a community of traders. I'm here, I'm trading, I'm live, I'm the owner of the company. So it is it's a cool little space, and I think there's a lot of good education on there in the coffee space and in the trading space. Everything on the education end is going to be free, so if I do any sort of coursework or anything like that, you'll get it from the website. Share it up. Let your friends, family know. Your mom, anybody who drinks coffee. it's a cool little experiment that I'm trying to run. Like I said, I want to try and fund underfunded traders. That's my goal. I want to give people the opportunity to be able to understand how to trade and live a life. I think the majority of traders, like this stream, is more like a real life, daily grind of what you will see people go through mentally, and just like execution wise. And then also at the same time, you'll see my kids run in, you'll see my wife pop in. Like this is a real life scenario type deal. I have a actual job that I do. I run that coffee company on the side as well. So you can juggle a lot of things, and I want to show people that they're able to do that and also profit while trading. Because eventually, I know a lot of the big time traders that get to a point where they're just trading. They find the need to get other things going. I appreciate that, Proby. I appreciate it. Coffee's great too, so give it a shot. Try it out. Do a sample pack if you're not sure. The flavor profiles and everything is, really, really good. Especially if you have good brewing methods, you can really start to get the flavors out of some of these beans that we have. My wife has all these things. I got like this crazy coffee thing here that I have. I gotta brew up a pot. She'll just bring it in here. So we are failing that level again. I'm gonna put this here. It almost looks like it's some sort of. I'm gonna cook some crack or something. What it looks like. Pop this in here. You can brew some coffee. Maybe she'll bring me some beans so I can brew something up. Just sitting like that. It's a very interesting little device that I have here. Just for while I'm trading, I could have even more coffee. Just nonstop coffee. So Nvidia kind of failed to break this with any sort of push. I'm not convinced yet that that's not a true breakout because we are still holding that level, right? Just be mindful of this. Nvidia at any moment can decide to just rip up to the upside. That's just what it does, especially how strong it is. But Apple, like I said, yesterday was the leader to the upside. Now we're leading to the downside. You have to 83.20 where I would start to expect profit taking or at least a bounce. And then from there, probably look to, if it does crack, yesterday's lows could come into play. You got Apple and Microsoft also. Microsoft right into that 412 zone that I had drawn up, right? These zones are magnetic. I have a really good knack for finding where price wants to go. It's just a matter of timing your executions onto how you want to play getting into or out of these zones, right? If you want to play a bounce, Microsoft may be looking to bounce from that area. You can risk, if you're that much risk averse where you're risking $1, then go for it. But, you can play a bounce here and be possibly comfortable knowing that level should hold unless you get some sort of really heavy market action. Same with Apple here and then Nvidia. So not only are we futures traders, we use these equities to our advantage to help ourselves, get some confluence in this. I'm not forcing anything in right now. Like I said, I'm trying to bounce back from a little bit of a drawdown period. I'm looking for my A+ opportunities, especially it's a Friday. It's a holiday shortened week. Nvidia had its earnings. We did get that rip up yesterday. We went to all-time highs this morning. We took those all-time highs, and now we've just kind of rotated off of them. That previous all-time high before the break was at 121.50. Could we get back to that? Yes, we could even get back through and all the way through highs, but realistically, after this week, you could expect some rest to happen on a day like today. We're sitting right on VWAP now for, what time is it? 8:57 all the way till 9:20. So basically a half hour, you've been sitting on VWAP here, right? Today is Friday. I have work. I will not be here on the afternoon. If you chat, I will have the chat up on my phone, so you could always ask me any questions if you want. I'll look at charts while I'm at work. I am a police officer, if you can't tell by the stream name. So there's times in the day where either I don't have anything or I may be busy, but I'll get back to your answers like I was just mentioning, I appreciate you coming in here all the time, asking good questions. Today is a Friday, shortened week. You got good earnings. I think there's a possibility for rest. I wouldn't try and force anything in the afternoon. So if you have other things going on, maybe just enjoy the weekend. If you didn't execute anything in the morning, it's okay to not execute. But go to class, enjoy it, learn a lot, and hopefully we can see you again Monday morning. And we'll be on here Monday, 8:30 till 11. And then Tuesday and Wednesday I'll probably be on later. So if you want to come on in the afternoon, I'll make it a point to come on in the afternoon, either Tuesday or Wednesday, for you, so we could go through some stuff and trade the clothes. Got a roll there. Is Apple going to continue downside? Like I said, we're really stuck in this little range here. I think possibly you get this breakdown down to here at 40. Yeah, I'd say 40 is the breakdown point. The target, I should say. NVIDIA's froze. There we go. Right back to the bounce spot. Failed breakdown. Rotate back higher, or continuation after we do break. I would love to just bang in execution after execution for you guys, but I really think teaching patience, especially after the week I've had of ups and downs and drawdowns, and I don't want to give you the idea that bad habits are good. It's not good to just hammer into trades. It's not good to do all that. I don't trust a lot of these moves right now off of that all-time high, but there you go. Microsoft pushing harder into this zone, and then that 40 level, like I just mentioned, is coming into play here. I think 40 and a quarter probably gets ticked off on if you hold this, maybe 50s. You see this breakdown. You kind of see this coming into play if you're holding through VWAP. Below VWAP, holding this little trend line on a normal day, maybe where I'm not drawn down for the week, or if it's on a Friday and NVIDIA is ripping, we hit off on all-time highs, then maybe you can take that. Or we're talking about my trailing stop before, right? If I could have got a couple more contracts on here at these highs where I got my initial entry, take off maybe half or a little less than half here at VWAP. If I left the rest at break even or just even above that value area high, it was never even threatened. So then now that you've made this little wedge and this breakdown, you could even trail that full position size down into that breakout point, so you have a little bit of confirmation, and say if it does rotate through that you get it, or you take off two more, right? Let's say we got on at 5. This is where I'm just kind of talking through my strategy and doing it better for myself, trying to understand how I can maybe maximize the gains on it. If I took 3 here and I took 1 off here and I took off that second here at 54, you at least have 54. Let's say we take 1 off there at the bottom. That's 117, and this first one was 73, so that's $200 you have off, and then you have 1 left at the high here at break even. But reasonably speaking, we did what we wanted to do. We trailed it out above VWAP. If it was going to continue to be a hard sell, we would get out. But we're scalpers, right? We're not looking for these huge long-term swings. We kind of want to be out if we can. So, you're still not really being threatened by this. VWAP is still acting pretty strong, even with a push-up in Delta. I'm going to switch. I'm not convinced in this area for my XFAs. I'm not looking to execute any trades on there as far as a plus setup. So I switched from there to my combine. I have a little ways to go after yesterday's little drawdown, so could get one of these funded today. We'll see. And now I will see 51,548. Could look to get a 2 guy on here. NVIDIA, Microsoft bounced right there from that 412.50. NVIDIA is holding below 804. If it recovers it, then possibly look for that upside move. Stop by 3 there. Top Step X. Is Apple still pushing downside? Oop. NVIDIA held that low there. That was good for this short to hold if you're still holding. Microsoft holding. Let's see. Sorry. All right, so you're looking to possibly break out here now in Microsoft. Got that liquidity down there at 412. If VWAP pops and you break through the high here at 85, you could look to rotate if Microsoft or Apple starts to catch a bid. I think NVIDIA has the pressure here to the downside. However, if one of those other names pops, then this pops as well, I think. Almost 9:30, starting to sell off again in NVIDIA. There's the sell off. Gonna cancel that order on the Top Step X Combine. You can see that low right there from the opening range broke and held, and now it's rotating downside. And you can probably look to see Apple also rolling and Microsoft actually catching a bid there. So Microsoft may be the leader to the upside here today. We gotta wait and see. All right. There's a roll. One more bounce at 50. Microsoft wicked above and rotated down. Does NVIDIA still push harder, lower? Yes, it does. It broke 800. That break of 800, like I said before, probably initiates some good selling to come into this market. If we, our trailing idea there, just talking through it and having that trail, being able to take off more position size as we move to the downside, come in heavier, 5 orders or so, and then go from there. Like I said, this is a combine now. I switched over to it. I don't have anything that I want to take until we get down to 18,000 for a long idea. I want to execute on good trades. I said that 40 was going to come into play, so 40's right here. 40 should play out right there, and then I'll be mindful of what happens at 40. If NVIDIA just continues to sell off, it has a long way to go to the downside. The close from yesterday was, 785-ish. So pre-market lows, 794. Apple right to the tick on that level, right? Boom. Oh, we actually flushed it hard. That's a really hard flush to the downside there through that 183.20. And Microsoft back down into that 412 zone. It could go all the way to the bottom of that zone and act as support. So I would wait to see it hold below if you're an equities trader and looking to short.
Order filled.
I'm just gonna try a quick long on the. Oh, that's wrong. On this top step X, just a quick little guy. See if it'll catch a bid. Nothing that I want to take in a real environment here, but I'm trying to get. I mean, I would take it. Obviously, I took it, but I'm looking to see if that bounce is a true bounce there. If Nvidia can recover 800, then I could catch some more of this. 500 I need to make ish. So there's that little bit of a bid. Maybe we get to VWAP. Possible. There's 800 recovered. I'm even on this top step X trade. Kind of looking at it right here if you want to see it. Might get stopped to break even, might not. But it's really just a quick try at this. There we go, we're flat on that. It's up 321 on that account. I was just trying to catch this little bit of a bounce. I got in a little tiny bit late on it, and really could have secured about 200 on that trade there, but not really a convincing bounce with this failure of 800. But this account up 321. This one's up 547. This is the. I want to wait till this gets to down around that overnight low at 18,000 even before I start to make any new decisions on an actual trade, right? I can't be doing what I did the last 2 days where I was just in the middle of the zones and I was executing as if they were in my area of interest. And there was a couple, obviously, that were good, and those ones are the ones that worked out. The ones where I was kind of forcing them in, they don't work, right? Anytime you try to start to force things in, that's not going to work. So we're here looking to do our best to be patient for our levels. Obviously, we want to get into that yellow zone if we want to try and long it all. The overnight low is 18,000 even, 17,999. It's 18,000. So if you catch this all the way down to 18,000, right? I said the rotation from overnight high to overnight low in a day after a big run up, and then you get to all-time highs. There's a lot of reasons why maybe you have sort of not just a reprieve day, but a rotational day between that overnight high to overnight low, just because of the amount of buying that happened yesterday. Then also, at the same time, you could stay within this small little range by VWAP all day, right? So I'm going to get rid of these levels. I'm going to keep this one because I thought it was kind of important for the breakdown. This account yesterday was right up to about $20 from being passed, and then I drew down. So we're gonna get that thing back. Still not far off from passing it, but that's just something that happens if you get a little bit where you try to force in $20, right? I need to make $20. I'm just gonna force in a trade, and it's bound to make you 20. You still have to execute. You still have to pay attention. You have to do it. So, I tried to do a little too much with not a lot of real conviction, and that's what happens. Nvidia is still rolling down from 800. Microsoft flushed the low there. Now we gotta watch to see if that low is gonna hold, and then if that's gonna act as resistance. Very good level there, liquidity zone wise. Overnight low, pre-market low. This doesn't, to me, give me opportunity to limit risk. And that's really what I'm coming down to as far as everything is concerned. I don't have a big conviction on a direction, so there's no reason to hammer in some sort of trade here for any of these, for my funded account, for these ones, even these combines, really, to give back some of the gains that we got for the day. There's just got to be patient. Let it get to this zone here. In thinking that it's going to get to the zone, could you short? You could, but you might not want to at the point of control, this close to VWAP, and then with Nvidia on lows, when it could catch a bid at any time and rotate to the other side. Microsoft also flushed the low of a zone and could rotate to the high end of that zone. So there's reasons why you wouldn't want to short it. But also, at the same time, in anticipation of getting down to that 18,000, it's possible that happens, right? So I would guess that that's an important level. And you can see it's popping, right, with Microsoft popping. Let's see if Nvidia is still going. Nope, Nvidia held that level there, right? Apple popping right off that level though, right? You can see these levels are very, very important. Key zones. I'll watch Microsoft, see if it can rotate into the high end of this bubble here, this range. $9.40. I went with the idea of Microsoft recovering this zone, but this zone here, right, the bottom end of these wicks acting as a resistance. Apple, really nice bounce off that 183.20. You're $1 in the money on that one. I mean, not $1. 30 cents. 10 cents. Okay, so we're upside now. I went break even on the Top Step X again to see if there will be a push to the high side up to the VWAP. If it does, then we will probably be happy with that. I took off $80 on that, so up 385 on that, 395. Friday. I will like to end the day green, get into the weekend green. It's 9:41. There's that push to the downside. Probably going to get some follow through this time with NVIDIA pushing. Microsoft probably also rolling a bit. A true break of that 412 probably gets this actually to break down some. Everything is kind of just, like I said, everything is staying right here. It's possible that it's a rest day. I don't want to do anything until we get down to that 18,000 area for a bounce rotation through to the high. Apple. I'm watching NVIDIA just because I'm interested in it. I think it does drive the market a bit, to continue the downside pressure. Look at that breakdown. If you're thinking about my trailing rule, you could still be technically involved. If you shed off some contracts and left one on and having VWAP probably as your stop, just a couple ticks above. As you approach 18,000, I would start to get tighter with the stop. I would look to see if you're going to catch a bounce. 18,026.75 was a key level. $18.30. Careful in that range. I did mention when I was doing that analysis of NVIDIA that the gaps were a bit much. It needs to clean up some of this stuff that it's got going on, especially if it's going to be a healthier move, if it's going to continue upside. That first close of that gap is going to be right here. I liked this short right there. I was mentioning this. I said this type of move will give you a failure because it's just that lack of pushing to the high side, right? You got sellers coming in at higher points, buyers are coming in, but they're slowing down. You had Delta flattening out, right? There wasn't new buyers coming in here. You're at all-time highs. A lot of time those all-time highs, you get a candle like this, then you get another one. You're getting that big push. You didn't get that follow-through. So that slowing down of price action, you broke it down. You supported at this previous all-time high, bounced from it, never got to the highs again. Really, you could have shorted after this candle here and been from the high of the day down to at least till, I would say, into this area here, which is pretty much right where we're at right now. And with one micro, that's $234. So if you could imagine, that's $2,000 per contract that you have on of a full mini. And you really never looked back on it, right? If you took that short, you never took any heat on it. You may have came back to break even once, and then as you flushed through here, this was our entry. We got in at the opening range opening range high, broke down, held that high. Once you hold that high, down to the downside, got stopped out right there. So very nice move. Could catch more of it, but even with this chop, this is chop. That's got to be a set it and forget it type. You can't watch it as a scalper. Not really gonna be able to avoid getting stopped out at some point there. I would be very happy today. The last few days have been kind of dragging me down. I had one good execution today. I'm gonna stick with the, start with one, get another one. Hopefully we get close to 18,000 right now. If we can flush it, get some confluence with NVIDIA or Microsoft. NVIDIA's there. Got a little bit of a bounce. But we still are pushed. Microsoft looking to hold below 412. Apple pushing below 183.20. Microsoft, there we go. Slight bounce. There's your NVIDIA. It is a Friday. You want to keep your money on a day like today. We're not looking to give things back. It happens from time to time, but we're gonna kind of just be patient on it. But let's show you what the power of micros can do with this combine. I am not executing any funded account longs or any ideas until we get down into that yellow zone there. We bounced from it overnight once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then eventually we built into it tried to flush, failed at 18,000 and has rotated back out of it. I kind of anticipate a similar rotation. This is the overnight low. If you get a little flush, delta divergence, rotate to the higher end. That's kind of what I'm looking for there. Didn't quite make it to the zone, but really you got to the bottom of this area here where there was some bounces. There was the close from yesterday, so could catch a little bit of a bounce there, but that's just could be just nothing like convincing. Maybe if NVIDIA breaks above and continues on. Getting a little hungry. Nothing doing for me at the moment. You can see this price starting to speed up some. I would let this get to about 10 o'clock also to just get price to settle down some. S&P's is trying to approach their previous breakout point, 5107 and 3/4. So watch that level there. Kind of want to see what kind of bounce we get from that. I'm going to see if that'll bounce some. Just a feeler on that account. Getting a little bit of a bounce from NVIDIA. If it could hold above this area, then you could catch a bid up to that 800 level, and then you got to watch 800 to see if it'll if it's going to hold or if it's going to let it kind of break out again from here. 793.78 obviously is the bottom that you don't want to see crack. Let's see what Microsoft's doing. Microsoft holding below 412. Apple trying to push up back to 183.20. Let's see what Microsoft does. You know, if it holds below the zone, rotations to the bottom happen. If it pops back up, you could see the NASDAQ rotate back to VWAP. That's the idea, at least. So there's that push, pushing up higher, right to the point of control. Like I said, I took a feeler guy on my break even on with the Top Step X combine. I'm looking to just see if Microsoft will rotate up into that higher end there. Apple as well pushed above that low, and Nvidia looking to like, I want to see if it'll get back to 8 even. I have moved my stop to 180.47.33 to see if it'll hold that. If it doesn't, then it's going to probably fail anyway. Microsoft. There you go. Microsoft still pushing up higher. There's the roll from that 412.40. And we're flat again. We're up 540 on that Top Step X combine. Just kind of playing bounces here. I don't trust many of these bounces to follow through. You can see that these all the bounces get sold off. Bounce, sell, bounce, sell, bounce, sell. Right here, you crack below 412, which looks like it's doing. You know, the bottom end of the zone. If you flush it, then it could rotate further to the downside. But Apple is holding, and Nvidia still above that level, but it doesn't look like for long. I want to get to 18,000 and then make a choice on which way it wants to go. So this is what we're doing here. We're very patient, holding on. Friday, we're up across all of our accounts a little bit. We flipped to micros because we were drawn down in the XFA to a point where I didn't feel comfortable risking too much per trade. We're up about 126. So bought ourselves another trade. Gonna stick with the micros so I can get myself, you know, another $1,000 in buffer, which isn't that far off if I can just execute every single day on here, come out and make good choices. Once these other two combines are passed, I'll have a couple other ones that I'll take some full trades on, and then we'll just, you know, work each account separately instead of trade copying and burning them all at once. I don't want to do that anymore. See, my wife will bring me a biscuit. So you got this push, fail. Flat delta. Look at this delta just grinding downside. There's not a ton of participants right now. I feel like get rid of this. I don't like that there. Something about the way it's grinding downside. I feel like we should be able to get to our bounce location. I just need to be able to get it there. Here's the breakdown. Nvidia cracking. Like I said, I don't want to take anything until we get to our zone for a possible bounce. If Nvidia can get to the levels that we need it to get to, I don't want to necessarily play directly off of that level. I want to watch what happens at it, because if it just runs us over, it runs us over, right? I don't want to be a part of that. I switch back to the funded. So if I do take a trade, it's going to be on the funded account. It'll be a 2 guy, and we're not going to risk much more than $50 on it. So we're going to find a location, a setup, everything that we want to happen at that location, and then go from there. Hello?
Daddy?
Maximus?
Just seconds are going to work. Are you going to work and take the Batman things apart?
You want me to take the Batman thing apart?
Yeah.
Bring it in here. I'll take it apart. Not quite made it there yet. Apple. Softy. Where does Softy have to go from here? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, he wants me to take apart Batman. I'm watching this level as I do Batman. Coffee time. Holy cow. What do you want me to take it apart?
Yeah. It's
I can't. I've been touching on this button. That's why I'm doing half hour.
Alright, bring it here, buddy. We got right into the zone. I want to watch and see what happens.
You press that and then you take the 2 buttons in the back, but it's not working. That's how I did it with Anthony's. These 2 things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not.
There you go.
So you have to press that button. I was doing that.
Good job.
Oh, how did you do that?
Okay, let's go inside.
I did it.
I just had to
Don't make it.
All good.
Okay.
I'm not going to break it. I'm just going
Wait,
to put it.
you gotta be like this. Max, listen to me. This is handsome. You can't do like that. You gotta take this stuff. Control. I'll do it. Let's go.
Yeah, you can do it. Mommy's got it. She knows what she's doing.
I don't want to do it.
No, flip
Well,
those
you gotta
yellows.
press the 2 things on. She's not even working.
You gotta push the yellow buttons.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
The yellow button on the inside of the leg.
Oh.
There you go.
Press that button. This one. This one.
All right, we're approaching down to that 18,000 like I anticipated.
How you did that?
All good,
Now
Matt.
we're keeping it on my focus.
You got it? Oh yeah, Batman. See you later. Apple bounce. Nvidia, right to that level there. Level to level, that's yesterday's high, so it closes the gap from yesterday. See if we can get this overnight low tagged at 18,000. If we can get 18,000 tagged, now you could possibly look to see the bounce come in. I think we get one more push down. Tilt's only 57% short, so not a heavy short yet. We waited for this 18,000 level to come in. It's 10 o'clock. We got a lot of there's the push. Let's see if it'll bounce from here now. Gotta wait. We're pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. Looking to close that low at 17,999. Target's basically to a tick hit off on. If you would have taken the trade exactly where I said and then just let it sit, For 2 micros, that's 517, so you could do the math. I think we flush it, and then we get a bounce. So I'm going to wait for a little bit of like a divergence setup. If it just V-bottoms off of here, so be it. That's just what happens. I'm not going to look to trade that exact little play, but that is where I'm looking, right? 18,000 here, here, here. It is a point of interest. It is a bounce point. If we can get a some sort of setup where we can flush it and pop off, then we'll get that there. We have Nvidia, we have Apple right there bouncing at 83.21. Microsoft down at the lows, below 412. So that is sort of concerning for any sort of bounce play. I would be cautious at the 18,000 level. If that's what you're going to do, be cautious on it because of Microsoft being down at these lows. Nvidia right at that yesterday's high where it closed. There's the break of 18,000. Getting very whippy. Delta's congruent. You know, we have new lows in Delta. Shorts only 62% short, so not a super heavy tilt short side. Could limit your risk, but I don't really want to go crazy, you know, bottom ticking this because you could just get run over and it could flush 18,000 and continue on for a long time, especially with Nvidia acting right like that at the bottom, and then Microsoft being so beat down. You know, now it's getting dragged. Yesterday, 410.50, important level for Microsoft. And Apple breaking down too. So I know I was talking about bounce play idea at 18,000. I just want to be more convinced of a bounce play. I don't want to just take it just to take it. That's not what I want to do. We executed perfectly on the short, on the high. So we're going to watch to see if we can get something more for the long here. It would have to maybe re-accept where we get a higher low. We could even push all the way up into 820, rotate back down, try and make a new low, fail that. That'll give me an entry. Any sort of V recovery here is not going to help me get in. I don't want to enter on something like that. It would be great if you just bottom ticked it and, you know, were able to do something like that. But realistically, that's not my strategy. So this is how I avoid getting run over. Could do the same thing we did on the other end. What we did here, we could do here to view out. But it looks like it's flushing. Doesn't really have a lot. Let's see what this says. 45, 945-ish could be a target. There's really just a lot of downside pressure here. Apple, push. Nvidia, pushing down. Yeah. This is why you would love to have a, what's it called? A runner on. Got to put enough size on a day where you could get and keep at least one, even if it's a micro on, right? Because if we had just one micro on, we would be still in it pretty much, right? What would the potential of one micro be from our entry to where we're at right now? One micro gives you $304 if you get out right now. But you could get down to 880. You never know. I love that entry right there. That all-time high failed to really break. That little rising wedge type deal. And then you just accept back here and then never look back to that opening range at all. I had two on. I could have took one off and then left one at break even. I'm happy with the way I executed it. Can't be mad about it. So if I had bigger size, if I had more risk to work with, you know, like I said, maybe we get on with 5 micros or 3 contract, like 2 fold NQs. If we get 2 full NQs, you know, you're looking at $5,000, $3,000 per contract right here. This isn't the shoulda, woulda, coulda game. This is just how do we get better at trailing our good ideas to maximize our downside or our profit margins. First thing is don't get drawn down as much as I did. Second thing is, you know, you execute on your idea, you get the VWAP, you get out, then you just look for the next one. The next one was possibly a breakdown of this. However, we're so close to VWAP, we're in the middle of a range, you can't really go and say, I'm going to short that there or whatever. And another reason I didn't just take, hey, 18,000, we're going to just take a buy immediately. You see, we broke 18,000 and we flushed it. So not looking to get in front of that train there. Yesterday's range, we have accepted back into it, right? Yesterday's range, we'll put the value areas up. Value areas are up. So that's the value areas from yesterday. We accepted back in. Point of control is back down here at 17,890. So there's not a far-fetched move after the giant move that we had, right? Yesterday's move was from here all the way up. And then prior, obviously, overnight. So there is some rooms of downside still. Just be careful. Be careful. A little bit Scotty. Help fuel the Italian power here. Good flush to the downside. We did take that short from the high. We weren't on enough size to be able to trail it properly, to leave one on. Also, like I said, I was doing my best to get myself, you know, executing a plan from the last few days of just things not following through. So we trailed it, we're out. Just the idea of that all-time high being a good place for bigger sellers to come in, and that 30-minute wick really just pushed us all the way down here. We bought ourselves another trade, and that's all you can do. Just trade so you can trade tomorrow. We're still looking to grab some funding in a couple of the other accounts. Pretty close on a couple combines. More than halfway on all of them. Gave some back yesterday. $960-ish. Pretty, it's a bouncy area, right? You can see there was a breakout here around 10 o'clock yesterday. Just going to draw this up for myself for the time being. I just want to see what it does there. You can see if we try to push down, we need to see Delta break through that low there to maybe this could be it. We're that standard deviation away from VWAP. And up here, we were that one standard deviation away from VWAP there. And that was the short, right? So if it's going to be a rotational, watch it. See what happens at that area. I'm not convinced yet. Still sitting up a little bit on the day so far. I'm not trying to force anything in. We took a really good short from the top. We're up 130 or whatever we are. I just clicked the wrong button again. I hate when I do that. Our trader is going to pop up. And I'm going to get rid of this. I don't know how. Cancel. Okay. Watching NVIDIA to see if it'll pop a little bit. It is in this little downtrend. Microsoft to bounce. We need Apple to bounce. Yesterday's levels. And yesterday's low. Support level from yesterday. I think this is just going to be a heavy Friday. A lot of times Fridays tend to be directional, at least over the last few weeks. You've been having big upside runs, now big downside runs. I did mention 18,000 was going to be my idea for a bounce play. Obviously, once we got there, we just flushed right through it. We did not take it because we wanted to wait for confluence. Can't just jump on a limit order and then get run over and then try and do it again and try and do it again. That's how you get yourself into a snowball of a downside FOMO action, right? So we're going to look to see maybe, you hold up here, you get a little flush at the bottom, you get a delta divergence, and you rotate. You're going to kind of have to be quick with it because 18,000 may act as resistance again. Microsoft's breakout level, really it was where we're at kind of really right now. It held this level yesterday. Does not seem to be holding right now. It seems like it wants to just continue to rotate downside. Sort of kind of recover where we were prior to this NVIDIA earnings. Tell me I'm all the way. Okay, we're good here. You can see very similar chart. Rotate down, broke the low. Is Apple breaking lows? Yes, Apple is breaking lows. This chart is more in tune. Yesterday we drove up, Apple drove the market up and continued to hold us. And also NVIDIA later on in the day, it had a little post-earning hangover for a few hours and then it decided to catch up. 10:15 a.m. NVIDIA did not make new lows. Delta did make new lows, with price making new lows. I don't like that. I don't trust it, I should say. Not that I don't like it. I do like to fade the extremes. Drop the pop on the NQ possibly. I think there's a good chance we do catch a bounce. I was looking for it at 18,000. We could get it here. I'm just watching some of these other names because if they continue to give you sell side pressure, like really Microsoft has all the way down to 406.18 before I see a real major level of support. Apple has these levels from yesterday. It did drive us up all day yesterday, so driving us down now. It could get down to 182.47 before it decides to bounce because that's yesterday's low, right? You get that close to yesterday's low and you don't quite break it, then maybe, you rotate back to highs. And then NVIDIA also obviously has been our little bit of a guide for this entire time. So you got a higher low here. You may be getting some sort of other end of this, but if you make a new low, then that kind of negates it, right? So don't want to get in front of a falling knife here. Just like yesterday, we kind of kept getting in front of the rocket ship. That's kind of how I chop myself up. So I'm really just trying my best to be a little patient with it. Let this thing set up. Maybe get a little high here. See if it holds the high. Then if it holds this level, you can rotate it back up and catch that portion of that as well. So that's what I'm looking at here. It just failed it again. Looking like it wants to get heavy fast at the moment. Kind of like whippy a little bit. If it doesn't, then it should pop. If it does give you a break above here and runs to like that 18,000, be careful around 18,000. That could be a pretty strong resistance point, but if it runs right through it, VWAP's first target. I'm going to go long on the top step X to see what I can get out of it. If I can get a continuation. $970 would be a pretty important spot. High volume node there. I think Microsoft still has downside pressure, like I said. Apple broke out and failed, and now it's just sitting there bouncing. Any little bounce in this should get our NQ to give a little bit more bounce as well. Up to 18,000 would be ideal. And then VWAP, obviously not ideal, but VWAP is the, when you do these trades, when you do your mean reversion type of fading of an extreme, looking at this sweep of the bottom, sweep of the low, looking to rotate back, your first target should be that 18,000 level. Once you get to 18,000, if you can hold it, then, I mean, if you can, push through it without much resistance, then you should get to VWAP. Point of control. There's a lot of confluence there. There's orders there to be had. Doesn't mean that there's not a continuation to the downside. It just means a temporary pop could be in order for now. But if it rolls through 70, then you probably get that continued push to the downside, right? This just looked like a sweep and a push up. That's what it looks like. The kind of move that we like to see in order to get that rotation from a low. But all these other names are just very heavy and they don't help. They don't help at all. $63% long on the tilt. Nothing heavy long, nothing heavy short. 63% is probably pretty accurate for it to see if we can continue on up a little bit. But Apple pushing downside does not help our cause whatsoever if we are going to look to catch a bounce. Microsoft still also just, everything is beaten down here. NVIDIA kind of being the only thing that's holding this price up. I feel like if this gives it up at all at the highs here, then you rotate down. If it can push it through that 785, then maybe you can get up to 18,000. What's this going to be risk-wise? Down to 70. 68 bucks? Let's give it a shot on the long. No, not yet. Not ready for it yet. Not going to pull the trigger on it. On this count. We're actually long in this one, so I'll watch this for you. Tilt 68. If it gets like a heavier long, then I'm going to get out. But we're up 210 on it. If we can crack that high, I'm going to put my stop here at 73s. can see Apple grab that liquidity, trying to roll down, but then you just pop up, pushing out. If we can break this high here, we're gonna get the break even. Nope. Looks like it's trying to fail Apple again. Let's see, Nvidia pushing up. There's that 785. So Nvidia's still trying to push. Can it carry Microsoft up? No, Microsoft's giving it up. Nvidia is the only thing holding this up. So if any of those other names start to rally, we're gonna go even. So we'll break even on it. See if we can get up to 18,000, and then we'll start to trail it. Anything that breaks above 18,000 could give you a little bit of pop, because you see how big this big red bar here is. Any sort of negation of that, there's probably gonna be stops above. Yeah, so we're up 220 on this one. We'll go up 80 on that. So we're more than break even, and we're just gonna see if it'll continue to go upside. I'm up on this account. I'm not really looking to go crazy, losing anything. So if we can break through that on Nvidia, should give us that upside push to 18,000, right? There's that push to 18,000. We're up 240. We've secured 240, I should say. If we get through 18,000, I anticipate getting up to that 23 level. If we get through 18,000, I'm going to put my stop just below it, and I'm going to secure that money, right? Because that could easily act as a wall. There's Nvidia breaking through that little downtrend, seeing if it'll confirm and hold, and then just get some bids to just really pop off here. If that happens, then this should continue on through 18,000. It's got to get to 18,000 first. If we get a whippy little action above it, I'll probably end up being flat, because I'm sure it'll whip right back down and stop me out. But right now, I'm trailed up into 240 just because I think that if this does fail here, then we're going to probably maybe roll over harder, and I would be out at break even anyway. So I'm going to secure 240 on it. There it is. We're up 774 on the day on this account. Still can make a bit more on it and see what happens. There it goes. Now that it stopped me out, it knew that I was there for some reason and it pushed me out, but it's all good. Can't be mad at securing a nice little 240 on that. Just quick little trade. So being up 774 on this account, getting closer to passing this one. I'm being very cautious around the 18,000 level with Nvidia, with Microsoft being double bottom E. If it breaks the bottom, like I said, it does have to 406.18. Apple curling back up, and then the sells are hard, right? There is some pressure there. $18,000. Break of that, bulls come back in. Overall, I like the day so far. I think I'm going to probably end it. I'm going to stay on until 11, but as far as executions are concerned within this within this funded account, up $129 on the day, $126 on the day. Might not seem like a lot, but ending my day green after having back-to-back losing days, after making a good execution at the very top, we executed, we let our plan play out. Unfortunately, we didn't get on with big enough size to be able to trail out little pieces, but realistically, we took off 2 contracts for $129 right there. We took this whole big piece here, which is all I really want to try and catch. Usually I'll catch it with with 2 full contracts. So instead of it being, 129, it's 1,200, but I don't have the risk to be doing things like that right now. So look at all these orders sitting here, right here, up into 18,000. I would love that Look at all of that. Up to 18,000, there's a sitting order of 118, 117, 100 lot right there. Oh, man. That's a big seller there. I would like to see what NVIDIA is going to do now. Oop, wrong one. Microsoft. NVIDIA. Apple. There's a ton of orders just overhead. Are they actually there to sell, or are they gonna spoof it? Boom, 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 boom. They all just got filled. They got filled and now they're going longer. There's that 18,000 that we were looking at. And then I said up to VWAP possibly. All those sellers got filled and or they're out of their orders now. Stops went off and now they're possibly looking to see if they can stay long. That's the question, if it will or not. NVIDIA is still pushing upside. All right, I'm not going to execute on this funded account. Let's see if we can get this combine passed. We're going to switch back to full contracts. I took a long above here. See if we can get into VWAP from above 18,000. This is on a 50K combine. I just want to see if I can get in. I'll add one more above here and I'll get one off. I'll buy one there. And then I want to take one off if we get up to this 1821. This is just a trade idea on the combine here. I just wanted to see what happens on that hold of 18,000. If nothing, if we get out, we get out. It's not a big deal. This is the combine. I'm looking to try and execute on some momentum on a break above 18,000. When I saw some sellers that came in and got ran over at 18,000. So usually you'll see, if that happens, you'll get a pop in the direction that it's going. So if NVIDIA could get up to 793 and beyond, then this should play out to VWAP. Like I said before, 18,026 is the next key level that I have drawn up on the Top Step X. So if we're front running 20 to take off one contract and then let the other contract run, and see how far we can get this to go to the upside. We're talking about the long from down here, which we caught a couple pieces of with the Top Step X account. This is a different combine, another 50K combine. I didn't take anything. I took the one trade in the funded account on the short, and this was a lower conviction long, so I'm taking it on the combine just to see if I can get it to play out and still be able to benefit from that in some sense of the way that I'm just doing it here. So let's see what Tilt's saying. I have everything all messed up. I gotta get my screens back the way I want them. NVIDIA selling some. Tilt 68% long. $18,000 held. If 18,000 holds, then could get a bounce. But if it flushes, then back downside we go. This is actually not at the correct stop. What's going on with this? I can't get rid of it. It's not working. Okay. Well, I guess we're stuck here. I'm gonna stop myself out there. Fine with that. There's, you see that once you flush that 18, it's gone, right? That's why I took it on that combine and not in my funded account, because it was just like a feeler idea on that trade. Still up good on every account except for this one combine that I just was testing out that order. We are still up 126 on that account. On the XFA, we're up 774 on the Top Step X account, and we're up 547 from that overnight Top Step account that I'm going to try and run on overnights. So I have 3 that I'm running around with right now. Microsoft at the bottom of this little base pattern here. I'll try a second shot at it. It wicked 18,000 and it went right back up through this high, so that's why I took that second shot at the long on this combine. We're gonna see where it goes from here. I think we could push up a little bit higher. I want to get to VWAP. That'd be fantastic, but there's a lot of levels in between. If we get up to 20, then we'll go to break even, and then we'll just see what happens. Still kind of not quite rotating through that low volume area. You would think it would rotate through the low volume up to that 18,020, that yellow level above there. Seeing if we can catch that little bit of a pop. We're going to get to even now, because if it does fail this level, then it probably rotates down. But I think if we can get through 20s, then off to the upside we go. As we get up into this zone, then we're going to be careful. Just, you know, NVIDIA broke through 794, so there's some resistance broken, looking like it wants to carry on all the way back up to 800. If NVIDIA catches any sort of bid, you know buyers are coming in. They've been coming in force indefinitely, you know, since January, so why would they give up now? There's a whippy action there. There's a very strong push. Very strong push. Lots of orders are coming in right now. Not sure if it's going to sell off, because that was super whippy. Look at that. Pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Not quite a ton though. Not a lot of delta pushing up there. Could sell off hard here if it doesn't continue on, because Microsoft's starting to roll a bit. NVIDIA's pushing now. There we go. Still going. Still going. It's got to get to the 20s, I think. Come on now. Get through that 20s, and then we can secure some of this. secure down to 10 and just trail at 10 points. And then if we get break through 20, potentially we can trail it up to 20 if it breaks that. But Microsoft kind of giving up some of its gain there. Apple still creeping up. Apple's gonna roll over. There you go. We're out on that one. This account's basically even. Could get this thing to continue to pop. I think that flatten all these. So we are, like I said, we're up 126 on the day in our funded account. This long idea probably plays out some. We just broke even on it. This was more of a feeler idea in a combine that I didn't really mind about some of the risk that I was taking on it. There is a chance that we continue to pop up to the VWAP. We were mentioning it down here for that long. We did take that in the Top Step X, and we ended up getting stopped out for like 200 and something bucks, which is nice. That account is up 774. The funded account's up 126. So overall, called out some good moves, good ideas, great locations for trades. We are going to be done today at 11. It is Friday. You got to enjoy your weekend. Go into the weekend strong with some of these gains, and I hope that everybody's able to come back on Monday, 8:30 a.m. I will be here. I'll be live. I'll be ready to call out some really great levels. We'll have my market analysis paper that I write up every Sunday will be out Sunday night around midnight, Monday morning midnight Central Time. So I usually get home from work around 10:30, and I usually write it up before I go to bed so I can be ready for Monday. Let's see what happens with this level here. Could crack and continue back downside. Let's shoot a shot at it on this combine. It's a very heavy market. We'll short 18,000. Delta's pushing this way. Microsoft's rolling over. Apple is trying to break the same sort of little trend push. Nvidia pushed up to that high and now is giving you like a slight lower high above it. If it fails that 793, then you could break down. If it doesn't, if it continues on upside, 800 is in target. But Microsoft just broke the lows. So you can see Microsoft breaking down the lows. Apple trying to give us this wedge here that we got going on right now. So kind of going to go with this Apple pattern to be the congruence. The leader right now is Microsoft, which is leading to the downside. I'm going to show you NVIDIA because I think if it breaks that 793, it'll go, we'll break 15,000. But Apple is the same pattern. So if Apple breaks down, Apple may be the catalyst to get this potential move. But if Apple continues upside, then that invalidates this idea, right? There's your 18,020 level that we were looking to try and hit off on before. The lack of follow through on the longs, there's really not a ton of buyers. I'm trying this on a combine that I'm not really afraid of anything, so I do like the idea for it to continue to the downside. You know, we have been continuing to sell. Any sort of pop right now has been sold off. This doesn't constitute like a new high or anything like that, right? It's another layer of, we're at resistance here, right? If you can see that as well. You know, we broke out of it here. But if you are holding this level, you know, potentially that's right where we're at, right? Microsoft still breaking lows. Apple now trying to break the bottom here. If it can do it, then we do get the flush, I think, and continues to the downside. This is Friday. This is the last attempt at any sort of trade that we're going to do here. If it does flush 15,000, we can see if it gets to lows. Apple just broke. Microsoft's been breaking lows. And NVIDIA was the only thing holding us up. And it's right approaching a support level. Just caught a little bit of a bid there at 18,005. And gave you that little wick off the top. Maybe potentially going to be the bid. That was a really good delta push too. So maybe that's going to be canceling this out. Apple wicking that bottom right there, that low, and bouncing. If this fails there, then hopefully we can get this to now be the rollover that we were looking for. NVIDIA broke down 794, so it should get this thing below 15,000. Apple just gapped down a bit on a new 1 minute. Apple's now pushing harder downside. NVIDIA trying to hold 794, gave it a little wick below, is holding it, and now is trying to push back down below. I think we got this break of 18 initiates sellers. This is the last attempt at a trade for the day for me. There's the short we're in. We'll see if it gives a bounce or if we're going to get the flush that we expected at 18,000. You know, Apple's still pushing down. NVIDIA's pushing down. Got a little bit of a bid at 18,000 exactly, but I think if you can get that flush through, then you could immediately get down to 94, and then you got to watch to see if it'll bounce from there or if it's going to hold. See what happens here. Apple catching slight little bounce, but I think that's not going to be enough to hold us up. But NVIDIA does do stuff like this, where it ticks above that 794, which is pushing us up above that 18,000. Amazing with this, just the NVIDIA again. It's still very heavy. I think the stop needs to be above here. This wick here. You don't want to get wicked out on that little breakdown. It's not an oversized loss for this account. It's fine. It's just trying to put it in the appropriate location so you don't get wicked out. I want it to be above that little trend line there, that if it holds, then we're still good. But NVIDIA... Microsoft caught a little bit of a bounce, but I think it's really got Apple is the one that's same pattern, drove us to the downside. You just didn't get the flush at the moment that I expected it to. You know, you still see that good push down after that wick off at the high. It's just a super strong market. So potentially this rolls over. If not, then we're out. Look at Apple just rolling down, and we're still holding up here. It was the exact same pattern, so I figured that it was the one that was driving us upside, including the NVIDIA, but Microsoft also catching a sell order here. I think if we can crack 18,000, all of these things sell off. No matter what happens on this trade here, we're going into the weekend green. Very happy with the execution today. Only one trade on the funded account. It's really all I want to do, 1 to 2 good trades per day. This one, we're just giving it a shot on our combine because it's, for me, a lower probability. However, it's something I do want to execute do want to see if I can continue to benefit off of some of these ideas. And if they don't work out, you know, it's fine because I'm just working them through in a combine, and I'm transparent about that. You know, maybe we do make a really good trade here. Everything seems to be working in our favor. Microsoft, Apple, this is the Microsoft chart here. It just broke the lows again. So for Nvidia to be the only thing that's holding us up, then Apple just got right to its low. Like, we're at lows on Apple, and this market's still trying to hold up 18,000. If 18,000 cracks, then Apple could give up the goat at 182. If not, if Apple's bouncing here, then that could hold us up, and Microsoft's breaking lows too. So 18,000 is the obvious line in the sand here. And then this 18,010 here seems to be a high volume. Now there goes Nvidia a little bit. Still holding at 794. This is an Nvidia led push now to the downside. Now if Nvidia can crack 794, maybe we get through 18,000. This is all about timing, right? Timing, trade location, and then obviously giving it the appropriate room to breathe. I think if it cracks above this and goes, then we're probably out, you know, even above 21. So we're not risking much more than that, but we're giving it enough room where we can, you know, still make another trade if we wanted to. We're not going to, because this is our last trade of the day. But it's just, you know, seeing if the timing is right here for one of these names to give up. Everything's giving out. Microsoft, Apple. Apple bounced at its lows, but it pushed to lows. So it started to drag this down with us. And the only thing that held us up is this Nvidia, which is also ticking down some. And if it can get through this 793, 794 level, then I think that 18,000 doesn't have anything else to stand on. But if you get a bounce from 18,000, then some of these other names could rally up. And then, you know, you're going to get buying that makes buying that makes buying. But that's just if this holds. It just feels heavy, right? Delta's flat. It hasn't made new highs. Price keeps trying to tick up, but it doesn't get any new buyers. Sellers keep coming in. Everything's giving you that confluence saying we're going to probably sell off from this location. Somebody's building into a bigger order. And if they do flush 18,000, value area low, first target, and then basically low of day and beyond if we can do that. Nvidia looks like it gave up that 94, which it did, and Apple still trying, wrong chart, still trying to bounce, I think. Yeah, a little bit, but not really great. 18,000 held one more time. Microsoft, I still think if it continues to break down, we don't have much more resistance below 408.73 and then 406.18. There's no buyer above here. So if this seller gives up at 18, watch out below. Nvidia just holding 794 like a champion. You tell me if 18,000 breaks, where do you think it's going? I mean, the only buyer is at 18,000. Not up here. We're right there right now. 18,000, 18,000, 18,1, 18,2, 18,1, 18,3, 18,1. Amazing wall. There is somebody here that's just setting it and forgetting it, and he's just filling and filling and filling and filling orders. At some point, the seller's got to come back and buy it, and you know, this is what heaviness looks like. I don't know. There's the break of 18,000. Finally broke it. Now you got to see if it's just a liquid grab or if it's actually going to go, which it didn't hold. Microsoft broke down though. Apple broke down. No, Apple bounced a little, but if this cracks, it'll go. Man, 18,000 flushed really fast and then recovered, possibly looking to hold. There's the crack above the little trend. It's holding above that 10 now. There it goes. It probably wants to get up here. Now, it held it. I think that's probably your hold. If that didn't go there, I don't see it going. We have our stop where it is, and if we get stopped, that's just what it is. There, we're out. So now you're looking to see if this thing's gonna. I feel like if it pops above here, you probably get into that 20s. You had to take that chance. You saw that getting heavy. The seller disappeared. I mean, the buyer disappeared. Wick down. I said we'd get to 94. We didn't get quite to 94. We got to, what is this level? What is this one? The low there is 96. So I said we'd probably get to 94. We got to 96 pretty fast and then recovered right away. So that's it. Not going to trade anymore. That was a good test on that run there. Like I said, this was a combine that I was willing to test an idea on. Sometimes things don't work out like that, but realistically, we were looking at this long from the bottom. 18,000 was what I was looking to bounce play off of. We got down to here. We came here. I was maybe a second or two away from taking this long in my XFA, in my funded account. I decided against it. We divided this by 10. We're looking at $130, up to 18,000 ish. We would have got that fill there and probably trailed out. So we didn't end up taking it. We talked about it. Joe Fee said NQ pop, drop the pop on NQ. Right there, you can see drop, pop, push up. Good call out there, but Joe Fee, we just didn't take it. I'm very happy with the week, end of the week, I should say. We finished off with a green day. We executed from the top, the tippy top. Didn't want to do that. We executed from the very top here. I took a short on the breakdown of the opening range high after we failed to make, we made new all-time highs, but we just didn't follow through, right? So I waited till this broke down, went into this opening range, and then we took profits right there. So overall, good execution. Waited for an A+ setup, took it. Would have liked to have had one more contract on to maybe take two off here and then let the last one run the rest of the day down to 18,000. That was my ultimate target for a rotational base type day. I figured if we flushed it after what happened yesterday, you're probably going to get a full rotation from overnight high, overnight low, and then possibly just range around the rest of the day into the weekend and then see what happens next week. So overall, like I said, it's a good day. We had a good finish to the week here. We made our adjustments. We decided to only take micros with the funded account. So we took 2 micros. Monday, we're going to do the same thing. We can build this account buffer back up to about 1,000. Then we're going to get back into full contracts and then try and start to make some more profits there. I have a brokerage account loaded up as well, so we're going to possibly start trading that on stream also. I will let you know what I'm trading, when I'm trading it. Tradecaster still looking to try and get this to 25 viewers. When I do get to 25, I will be giving away a free month of Tradecaster.com. You get full access to everybody all the time. Deck, me, everybody, AK, anybody you want. That's what that free month will get you. But you got to get 25 people on here, and then we're going to follow some rules, and that'll get us going. So until Monday morning, 8:30 Central Time. Sorry, I'm still got my New York in me. So 8:30 Central Time is our stream. 8:30 till 11. We're out here trading the NASDAQ futures, but I talk about equities, I talk about money management, I talk about different kinds of strategies, stuff that I don't take, stuff that I do take, why I get into trades. We talk fundamentals. Every Sunday night, Monday morning, or at the very beginning of the week, I do a weekly market analysis. We do that every week. I'll send that. That link is usually in the bio of the YouTube. I think I forgot to update it this week, but it's also in the Tradecaster alerts. I usually alert it every Monday or every Sunday night, and then every Monday again. If you ever want to see what my outlook is for the week, kind of gave a good breakdown of NVIDIA and what I expected to happen, which ended up happening, and then it happened a little earlier, and then we kind of just went on a moon mission again. So, we did get a good idea going there. Overall, just trying to grow the stream a little bit by a little bit every day. I will be streaming any day that I can be on the screen. I'm going to be on the screen no matter what. My goal for this year is to just have consistency. If you want to see me, I will be here every single day. Like I said, 8:30 to 11 Central. I know Spy Proby was talking about coming on later today. I'll be at work. But Tuesdays and Wednesdays, if we can get enough people on for like a closing bell type, power hour show, I'll do that for you guys and come on at, maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Central, and go to close, and we'll do that together as well. But that'll be if we get a bigger base. I'm not going to do it if it's just me on here. I'll do it for Spy Proby. He's been loyal coming in and out, so we'll definitely come in and do that for anybody looking to do it. I don't want to cut the stream 3 minutes early, so I'm going to wait until 11 and shut it down for the weekend. Happy with the day. Like I said, we are up on all accounts except for that one that I just took there. Alrighty. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, ideas for the weekend, coming into next week, what we're looking for, just type it into the chat. Go over to Tradecaster if you're on YouTube. And if you are anywhere, I typed in the website for the coffee, daytradingcoffeeco.com. Don't be afraid to visit it. Use code PolicingPips for 15% off of everything on the stores. I'm trying to spread the love in my communities. Portion of all profits will be going to a funding fund where I'll buy people combines and then eventually partner with brokerages and give out funded accounts of my own. So no strings attached. Just have to actually be a trader. And we'll probably go through a small application process just to make sure that we're giving it to people who are trading and not just people who are looking to get just some cash or whatever. But I want to be able to fund the people who deserve it and want to earn it and can prove a little bit of a track record and whatnot. And we'll make it work for everybody who is involved in the community. But use my code. Like I said, it's on YouTube. It's in the chat. It's in the link in the Tradecaster. It's in the chat there as well. Like I said, code PolicingPips gets you 15% off. We have 39 seconds to go. Enjoy your weekend. I love and appreciate everybody coming on here every day. We grow little by little, and eventually we'll be, I'm not trying to be the biggest show on earth, but we'll be pretty big. And like I said, it's a reality show. Everything here is real life. I'm transparent about every trade that I'm taking, every account that I'm on. My kids run in and out. My wife runs in and out. I got an oil change yesterday. My buddy came in here and talked on the stream. We deliver oilchanges.com. He serves the Houston area, so if you need an oil change in the Houston area, hit him up. But like I said, 11 o'clock, we're all done for the week. Yes, we had 2 bad days back to back, but we rebounded today. We made an adjustment, went over to micros, took our shot at the trade we wanted to take, and we executed. We're not worried about the dollar amount. We're worried about just good executions, building the account up slowly back again, and then getting ourselves back to an area where we can start to take some money out. So until Monday, appreciate it. Talk to you all then. Later.